Hi there, I'm Gloria Makarenko. Now, whether it's a business or a nonprofit, starting your own thing, it can be exciting, scary, and rewarding. Luckily, we live in a good place to share good ideas. This is Our Vancouver. Coming up, a local baker who made it in New York and Toronto opens up a whole grain bakery on Powell Street on the downtown east side. And how a nonprofit network is helping women launch their own food businesses. But first, how young people are teaching each other what they need to know about the toxic drug crisis. When Chloe Goodison was a teenager, she saw another teenage girl collapse on SkyTrain. And it was only after paramedics arrived that Chloe realized the girl had overdosed and that naloxone had saved her life. Well, today, Chloe is 21 and she's executive director of NaloxHome. That's a nonprofit that she founded. It just got a $50,000 boost. Chloe, so nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
And congratulations on this recognition, a little bit of a financial boost as well. What is NaloxHome?
Yeah.
How would you describe it?
So NaloxHome Society is a BC registered society, and we're a team of 55 youth based out of the Tri-Cities, so Port Moody, Coquitlam, and Port Moody. And we're tasked to go into School District 43 schools, so around the district, and provide youth-to-youth overdose education. So we talk about BC's overdose crisis, we identify what stigma is, what harm reduction is, and then we also provide naloxone training to all the students we reach. We also have started to expand outside of the Tri-Cities too, which has been great, and we're just slowly growing across BC.
Okay, well, what was your vision with this then? Again, starting out with something that could be pretty traumatic to witness.
Yeah, so when I originally saw an overdose, I had no idea it was an overdose, and we were in the middle of an overdose crisis, and I knew nothing about it, and nobody on our busy SkyTrain full of people knew anything about it. And the reason I tell this story is just kind of to put into perspective how little people do know about our overdose crisis, because that was in the middle of it being declared a public health emergency, yet nobody knew the signs of overdose or how to help. So that really made me realize that this is something we should be talking about to students when they're young, when they're in high school, so that they're equipped with the tools to understand the drug poisoning crisis, but also make a difference when they're after they've graduated. I graduated high school in 2020, and I didn't ever learn about the overdose crisis, and I think that's a shame considering that over 12,000 British Columbians have now died of toxic drug poisoning. So I was able to kind of find the community support and the volunteers and the human power to help build this organization, and now we've reached over 5,000 students in School District 43 alone.
That is amazing. Well, let's talk about that human power and the volunteers behind the movement. Why is it people come to you and say, this is important for me?
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing that gives us an edge over anyone else doing drug education is that we're all under 25. So our whole organization is youth run and youth organized. And because of that, when we're giving presentations and talks about drugs to youth, they feel a lot more comfortable asking questions, and they're not scared about getting in trouble as if it were a teacher or a police officer or a parent giving these drug education talks. So people come to us because we're former high school students and because we're young and the youth who we're talking to listen to us.
Right, you've got the credibility,
Yeah.
instant credibility.
You're
not talking down, you're talking across.
Yeah.
And I can hear how that probably lands differently on younger ears. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's talk about Mazda coming up with this $50,000 boost. What does that mean for your organization?
Well, it's just huge. Like, that's the biggest amount of money we've received ever. And I filled out an application like 10 minutes before the deadline, and I was one of 5 youth selected in Canada to receive the $50,000 for their community cause they're working on. So this $50,000 will go a long way. We're looking at doing some more basic things, first of all, like getting proper warm uniforms for all our team and reimbursing some of the kilometers that our presenters are using up to go to UBC or North Van or wherever they're traveling from Coquitlam. But then we're also looking at how to expand more feasibly throughout the province. So we've had interest from Interior Health and Northern Health and Island Health about having our curriculum and our program be expanded out their ways. But because of cost and just because most of us are students, it's been kind of hard to organize how to get across the region. So this money will definitely allow us more options with expanding, which is so exciting.
Well, you're doing some great things, but working on it from the journalism side of this story, where we're so often just delivering updates on the number of deaths. There's a lot of sadness out there right across the province. So I guess amidst all of this sadness and tragedy, what gives you hope?
I think what gives me hope is working with a team of amazing youth, and we're all under 25, and all of us are just passionate about ending this overdose crisis, or at least finding some sort of relief, because as we all know, the numbers are not lightening up, they're getting worse each month. And being able to work with a team of the future generation, like we're all under 25 and we're all entering our careers and in school. It's very inspiring, and it's definitely a positive environment. And when you focus on the differences you can make at just a local level, even if you're just touching one life, like if you focus on that, you kind of offsets the tragedies that we're seeing with the overdose crisis.
Well, it sounds like you've built quite an organization, and you're doing a whole lot of good. So thank you. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Now, so many of you take amazing photographs in our beautiful province, and each week we always feature a few of the ones that we receive. So let's start with this one. When fresh snowflakes fell in Richmond, Richard Topping caught this late morning moment and shared it with us. Thank you so much, Richard. And Man Nayadi spotted this fast and tiny bird. It's called a golden-crowned kinglet in the Terra Nova part of Richmond. Very, very sweet. And finally, Amanda Nelson framed this crow with the moon in Clinton in the BC interior. Just gorgeous, Amanda. Thank you. So do send us more. It's easy. Just email your favorite shots to us at bcphotos@cbc.ca. That's bcphotos@cbc.ca. Now, he bought a ticket as a little bit of a favor. It was for a hospice fundraiser in Prince George with a big prize, a brand new home. Well, it turns out the winner seemed to be one of the last people to find out that he had won. Here's his story.
Juan Pablo Silva Perez, you are the new owner of the beautiful home on Munro Drive. Congratulations.
Honestly, when I bought the ticket, I've just kind of always thought about, especially because it's a hospice ticket, always trying to help out a little bit. I went to Canadian Tire, I think it was one day, and then I just saw the table, and I was like, oh man, and I think the lady already knew me, and she was like, JP, are you gonna buy one? And I was like, yeah, I'll buy one this year. One of those Fridays where you just want to unwind, and I just met up with my friends, and we were being pretty nerdy and playing a board game, and I was the one setting it up, and I put my phone face down, and I was trying to, just hang out with my friends, and I look up at my phone, and I must have had, I don't know, like 60 missed calls, a ton of missed messages, and my stomach dropped, and I just looked at my friend, and I was like, Mark, I think something really bad happened. And
hey, this is Juan Pablo with Sun Life. Sorry I couldn't get to the phone, but if you leave me your name and phone number, I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you. Have a great day.
After leaving a message, you can hang up. Hi, Juan. This is Donna Flood, the Executive Director of the Hospice Palliative Care Society. I'm hoping that you can give me a call. I've got some information for you that I think will make your weekend.
I called Sandra from Hospice because she's the one that messaged me, and because I still, I saw my I don't know, I kept telling myself there's a scam, like there's no way that it's my ticket, and I called her, and she started talking, and she was like, hey JP, you won. How does it feel to be the new hospice winner? Like, we're so happy for you. And she's talking, and I broke down on the other side of the phone. I don't know, it was pretty emotional, and she's talking to me, and I didn't answer, obviously, because I'm trying to I couldn't even talk. The moment that I talked, I knew I was going to cry. And she's like, hello, JP, are you there? And all I could say was, I'm happy. And I broke down. And you know what's really funny? There was so many people trying to call me. Like my whole siblings in Mexico knew before me. People that I didn't know added me on Facebook. They're trying to tell me, like, contractors that I used to work with when I was with the brew house as a general manager were trying to call me. And
how long was your phone off?
For about an hour and a half.
It wasn't even that long.
No, and when they called, so when I saw the posting of the video, or when they were calling, it was like maybe 3 minutes after I started playing the board game. So like, there was a good hour and 20 minutes where people were trying to get a hold of me, and I was just, I don't know, I was just hanging out with a friend playing a board game.
Coming up, well, this season can be a time to indulge. New research shows how your body tries to keep you from overeating. Darius Madavi will be here to explain.
If you're anything like me, you know what it's like to look down at an empty bag of chips and think, I ate all of these? Now, the question of why we can't stop when we know we should is one that neurologists have struggled with for decades, and there's more to it than you might think.
You can be standing at a cocktail party and there's a bowl of peanuts and you're just looking at it for an hour, not hungry, right? You don't touch it, just having a conversation. But then you take one peanut and all of a sudden you're just shoveling peanuts into your mouth every 5 seconds, right? And it's because that sensory experience of the taste acts as positive feedback that propels you forward to continue eating it, even if you're not hungry.
Zachary Knight led a research team that developed new methods to understand what's happening in your brain when you eat. And the best way to describe it is as an epic tug of war. Now, this is a cross-section of your brain, and there's various parts that control what you're doing when you're eating. And so this is where the tug of war takes place. So one of the most important ones is your hypothalamus. And this is the part of your brain that says eat more. When your tongue tastes something that's really tasty, it says, I want to eat more of this, put more into your mouth and eat more of it. But there's also another part of your brain down in the brainstem, which makes it more difficult to study. And it says eat less. It says this feels very calorie heavy. It feels very dense. Maybe your stomach is getting full. And it says we need to slow down or stop. And so you can see the second the food touches your tongue, it sends a signal to both the hypothalamus and the brainstem saying both eat more, this tastes really good, I want to eat it, and eat less. Maybe we should slow down, not necessarily stop, but we should take it easy. This feels very calorie heavy. It feels very dense. We need to, we should slow down. And so the balance of those two things determines how quickly you eat and how soon you might start to slow down. And so then you can also involve the gut, because this is what neurologists have long thought controlled your eating on its own. But the tongue is what this new discovery by Dr. Knight has found that it also plays a big role. But the gut is also sending a signal to that brainstem, that part of your that part of your brain saying we should slow down. I'm getting more full. The more full your stomach gets, the faster it signals, and the more strongly it signals to say you should stop. And as soon as that food stops touching your tongue, you can see that it's no longer, your tongue is no longer signaling to keep eating, and you just get that slow down and stop signal from your stomach saying, all right, I think I've had enough. And so until the food leaves your stomach, then you're full. So if you have a favorite food that you just can't stop eating once you start, you're not alone. Personally, that's why I don't serve mac and cheese at my holiday dinners, because I'd never have room for dessert. Darius Madavi, CBC News, Vancouver.
You are watching Our Vancouver. I'm Gloria Makarenko. Well, our next guest has baked with some of the best in New York, in Toronto, and here in Vancouver. And now he has opened his own bakery on Powell Street on the downtown east side. Tommy Aird is with us. He's the owner of Tommy's Whole Grain. Hello there and welcome.
Hi, Gloria. Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I know you've worked at several locals around Vancouver. How does it feel to have your name on the marquee now?
It's intimidating, but so exciting.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thrilled, and
Okay.
it's been wonderful.
Well, and the name says it all. Tommy's Whole Grains. Why whole grain bakery?
It's a big, it's the most important part of what we do, is we mill our own flour and we don't discard any of it. So we don't sift. It contains all the nutrients of the grain, and it reduces waste at the same time. More importantly, we think it's the best flavor.
Right. Well, that's it. That's what I was saying. So again, you've worked in a lot of different bakeries. Why did this call to you in particular?
I think after spending so much time as a food producer, you see the ins and outs, especially being behind the scenes. You develop a strong palate, and so these decisions are based on what I believe is the best ingredients to use and the best way to show them off.
Okay, let's talk about ingredients now. And I wish that you could get some of the aromas that are emerging from this fresh baked bread. It is wonderful. Let's talk about sourcing whole grains.
Yeah.
What have you brought here?
So let me tell you about Cedar Isle Farm. They're in Agassiz, British Columbia, in the Fraser Valley. And well, this is a retail item we're selling for them. That's rolled oats. But all the wheats we've been using are grown by them. So that's about as close as we can get. It won't always be that close, but it's so important for us to work with farmers, organic farmers of integrity. And for us, it's important to respect their crops as best we can.
Right. Okay, so you're opening your own place. What are some of the products you're proud to showcase today?
Yeah, okay. We have a few different whole grain loaves. Everything is whole grain. Our baguettes, we have a gâteau basque, chocolate chip cookie.
Wait, what's gâteau basque here?
Okay, this one's great. And gâteau basque is a Spanish cake.
Okay.
I serve it as a cookie because it eats like a cookie. It's got a little bit of pastry cream inside, but it also heats up wonderfully, and you could serve it as a dessert with ice cream or something like that.
And again, you're getting that graininess.
But graininess isn't always toastiness. I served this to a chef in Los Angeles, and he said, "Oh, did you use almond flour?" And it's just what the grain itself has to offer. And that's when we don't discard the most flavorful parts.
I would have said almond flour as well. I'm
really
getting that
nutty.
as well. Okay.
Sometimes it's floral, sometimes it's lactic. There's a lot of different profiles.
Beautiful. Okay, keep going on down the tiers here.
Okay, so this is special. This is a quince and almond galette. Quince is a real short season. Well loved in the UK, lesser celebrated here.
Yes.
I poached it, and this wonderful color comes out. We're serving it on an almond frangipane.
That's this one right here.
Yeah, and this is a spelt crust. I have a small piece if you want to try.
Yeah, well, I don't want to be eating my way through all this. Sure, just keep going. What, you make your own granola,
So this is granola, again, using the Cedar Isle Farms oats. It's very nutty. There's 50% nuts in there. So it's quite a powerhouse to get your morning started. This is an exciting product for me. These are just crackers. I think of them sometimes as fancy bar snacks. But so this is a waste product for me. This is making sure that I don't throw out extra levain at the end of the day.
Yes.
And another thing is I'm getting bran given to us by a bakery that sifts, which is not the end of the world. But so I'm using another bakery's bran rather than that going into the compost.
This is your waste. This could be your signature, my friend. Tommy, this is delicious.
Yeah, you could eat the whole bowl, I bet.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just that lovely savory flavor, but it's about that. It's about the crunch. It's not falling apart on you either.
Yeah.
And you're going to be dipping up all the wonderful dips with this. Some hummus, some eggplant, some.
I really think that once people get the chance to try this kind of product, you'll develop a palate for it, and you won't want anything else. I think we've been ignoring the true qualities of grain for so long.
Let's look at the interior of some of these loaves. Like look at this. Look at this. When you're cutting these through, cut a slice of this off, because again, when you're talking about just that density, and I'm seeing the top here, it's looking a little on the dark side. Should I be worried about that?
We love the color. This is caramelization, and it has to be this color, or else it's not going to show you everything it has to offer. And it is dark, but it's just it's an eyeliner.
Yep.
You know, by no means is it burnt.
Yeah, no.
This is what we're trying to achieve.
Let's tear off a little piece of what would be your signature loaf.
Well, this is a pan loaf, so it eats well for sandwiches.
It's warm.
Yeah, we came right from the bakery.
Beautiful. For sandwiches, this holds, but it's not too dense. It has a lightness, and yet.
Oh yeah, none of this is supposed to be dense, which is a misconception about whole grains. The bran actually is going to help create more space, you know, more air and things like that.
Look at you expertly cutting that baguette. I would have an issue with that.
I just caught myself.
Did you?
Just a little bit.
Okay, we've got Band-Aids nearby, don't worry. Look at that.
It takes a minute to learn how to work with whole grains, but I'm so proud of my team, and we're really proud of our whole grain baguette. I've heard people say that you can't make a baguette with whole grain flour. And I think it just takes a willingness to learn.
You just proved them wrong,
Yeah.
didn't you? You just... Okay, I'm looking at the current climate for restaurants. We have a lot of bad news, sad news stories for some long-time establishments in this city that have closed down. That could be restaurants, it could be bakeries, could be other businesses as well. So how do you feel about that, sort of jumping into the mix right now with this new venture, Tommy's Whole Grain Bakery, at a time when business is a little iffy, a little questionable?
Yeah. Well, it's my passion. So I'm not scared because like the economy or interest rates wouldn't scare me away from pursuing what I really believe I want to achieve. And I want to help move the whole grain community forward and show that whole grains are important. Sometimes I'll listen to whether it's On the Coast or another show on the CBC and I'll be yelling at the radio. I know cost of food is high right now, and even whether it's we're talking about grocery store prices or whether we're talking about the climate change crisis, it's not that whole grain is going to solve everything, but it has a lot to offer as far as solutions to these problems.
Well done, well done. So Tommy's Whole Grain Bakery is your new baby, but there's another baby in the offing in your family.
Yeah, she's at the store right now watching the front for me, but my wife's 8 months pregnant. She's so talented. She's the one who did all the illustrations.
Congratulations to you, to your family, and on this brand new venture. Thank you so much for
We
coming
couldn't be
in.
more excited. Thank you for having me.
And this is just a beauty. Gotta try some more of this. Gorgeous. This cookie, maybe?
That's standout.
It is a standout. You're absolutely right. Wow.
Hey, I'm Grant Lawrence from CBC Music with some great news for you as we head into the holidays. We have declared the winners in our 9th annual Canadian Music Class Challenge. That's when we challenge music teachers to learn a song from our list, teach it to their students, and send us a video of the performance for great prizes. This year, thousands of music students from every province and territory participated, and here are our winning classes from this year.
Nothing lifts the heart like seeing kids make music. Here are the winners of the 2023 Canadian Music Class Challenge. We start with a non-live off-the-floor video from Guelph Collegiate with this stadium-ready performance of Sloan's If It Feels Good, Do It. How about this stunning senior vocal performance by Mayfield Secondary School in Tyler Shaw's I See You? Arbutus Global Middle School dominates with this winning performance of the Guess Who's Share the Land in the junior vocal category. The senior instrumental category winner is Lisgar Collegiate. Don't hang up on this rendition of Call Me Maybe. Savor the sweet sounds of Sir Wilfrid Laurier School, the elementary vocal winner. Senator Joyce Fairbairn Middle School and Dr. Robert Claxton Elementary got together to claim the prize for Best Junior Instrumental Performance. Suzuki Charter School was born to be wild in this winning performance in the elementary instrumental category. Here's Turning the Tide by Luke Wallace, in the voices of the students at St. John Fisher Elementary for the primary vocal category. Top Community, Independent, or Private School Prize goes to Strathcona Tweedsmuir School for their cover of Drake's Passion Fruit. The Indigenous Language Prize for singing in the Dene Kere language goes to the talented kids at École Félix Leclerc with Lila Gilde's Masid Sinawe. The Music Counts Band-Aid Passion Prize of $5,000 goes to the musicians at W. Ross McDonald School for the Blind and Partially Sighted. And the Music Counts Innovation Passion Prize of $5,000 is awarded to Nakota Elementary School in Alberta. And finally, our top Public Library Music Award goes to Pembroke Public Library.
Please take me home.
Congratulations to all the winners, and thank you to all participating classes. Canadian music is in good hands with the next generation of music makers across the country.
Incredible! Those are our first place winners in this year's Canadian Music Class Challenge. You can see the entire list of winners in first, second, and third place in all the different age categories now at cbc.ca/musicclass. The first place winning classes receive thousands of dollars of musical instruments and equipment for the classroom. Congratulations to all our winners and our runners-up, and a big thumbs up to the thousands of music students who participated this year, and to all of our amazing teachers from coast to coast to coast. I'm Grant Lawrence. Keep Canadian music education alive. Happy holidays, and I'll check in with you again soon.
Coming up, how women new to Canada are creating businesses, connections, and friendships out of their shared love of food. Hi, welcome back to Our Vancouver. I'm Gloria Makarenko. Now, good food has a way of bringing strangers together, bridging language and nationality, and may also help women new to Canada find community and create their own businesses. So here's a documentary courtesy of the CBC Creator Network about a nonprofit that does just that. It's called Flavors of Hope.
I really want to shift the dominant stories often we hear of refugee women, of women who are always in need, or women need help from other people that they don't have as much power. I want to see women be leaders in our community. I want them to be proud of who they are and where they come from through food. At Flavors of Hope, we offer a newcomer women food business program called Dream Cuisines. Our vision is to see newcomer women coming to Canada flourish and experience belonging in our community through cooking, storytelling, community building, and food entrepreneurship. Throughout 3 years of running Dream Cuisine, we have launched 10 businesses, and Uncle's is one of the first women I met, and I ate some of her food and I was like, this is so delicious. I want everyone else to experience this. And she was one of the first one who's like, I'm ready for this. I want this.
Okay. This is one of the challenges. Not being strong enough anymore and having to carry all this stuff every single day. But when you're passionate about something, you do what you have to do, right? Yeah, it's on.
The name of my business is Mis Cazuelas. I chose that name because
The cazuelas are the clay pots where we cook in Mexico. And that clay comes from the soil in Mexico. That made me feel like I was at home, that I will bring a little piece of my land, of my country, of my culture into this new culture. Lots of Mexicans here. I arrived in Canada 7.5 almost years ago. I didn't want to come. I had to come. It happened all of a sudden. If you go to my house now, you'll find some pots on the stove and food in the fridge. And I felt so lost, so angry. I was mad. I wasn't enjoying Vancouver. I didn't have any reason like to wake up, to get up in the morning. And when Trixie told me about this dream about helping newcomers to start their own food business, she was so excited. And I felt her energy, and that was something I needed.
A lot of what I do is really informed, I would say, from my own lived experience as an immigrant and from my own parents' experience of how difficult it is to come to a new country when they don't speak English. They have a hard time finding jobs, they have a hard time making friends and navigating the many complex systems that they find themselves in. Most importantly, what they really, really want and what we all really want is that connection, that friendship, and the community. For us, it's actually about building kinships and building a chosen family.
This is just the beginning, and we want to grow this table, as you say, and invite more people into this table, so we're happy.
Dream Cuisine really came out of the fruit of all the women's labor and their experience and their belief in each other. Angeles is one of the women who have continued their journey with us. We started Dream Cuisine together, and now she's a mentor in our program.
This is something that I'm loving because I can share my experience with the new women. I want them to feel that they're not alone.
It's important that we all know each other so we can feel we have someone next to us to support each other, right? Like someone that we can trust, that we can share.
After a 4-month journey together, we create a food business launch event. This is a community event where it's a real celebration. People can come in, see who they are, and taste their food, and then be able to ask, where can I find you next?
Our dream is coming true tonight. This is what we're here to celebrate, the food culture and stories of newcomer women in our community. Women who are strong, who are talented, they're resilient, and they're leading tonight with their hearts, with their voice, and with their cooking and baking.
Flavors of Hope and Trixie, they have helped me to have that sense of belonging again. I lost it totally when I arrived here. They also help Angeles, the person, the woman that needed someone like them. She gave me a reason to keep going.
I started Flavors of Hope with a dream of bringing people together and empowering women through their food business. So I want to continue that dream and bring more women together and be able to help them follow their dreams of making an impact in their community.
I'm Mark, and this is our Vancouver.
Now, the fictional version of the Netflix hit Squid Game was deadly, horrifying, and still the most popular show on the streaming service ever. So the reality version, while it's safer, it's still grueling. And a Surrey woman was one of the 456 people chosen to compete. I spoke to Daryl Johnson on our afternoon show on the coast. So how did you land yourself on this game in the first place?
It's quite
Squid Game,
the
the
question.
challenge. Yeah.
Yeah. I was digital nomading throughout Mexico and Spain and building my board game company. And a friend posted the social media story that they were casting, and I'm like, that's hilarious. I probably will never hear from them, but let me make a quick video and send it off. And I guess like my story was pretty unique. Right? Like living in 32 houses in a year and a half, building board games, and that apparently stood out to them.
Okay, so then you got the word you're going to be one of our contestants.
6 months later, it was a long process of
Okay.
being interviewed and all of that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? So what do you think they were looking for?
I mean, in casting for a reality TV show, there's normally 10 to 20 people. And in this one, there was 456 people, which is substantially larger than your average show. And they don't know who's going to make it to the end. So they need to go through a very thorough process of I think like over 100,000 people applied. So they have to go through a lot of people, a lot of interviews, and make sure if any contestant were to make it to the end, like, do they have a whatever the story is to be able to hold the show together to the end. So
really,
it could, yeah.
How important was just your general overall health and physical health? I guess you have to be strong and fit.
There was a big range of people in there. There, like Leanne, the mom and son duo. She had a bad knee, and that was why she was at the end getting through red light, green light. I was like right beside her as well, and like my knee was messed up going into it as well. I just kind of kept it a secret because I didn't want that to compromise my ability to go on. But I think as long as you're in good health, but it's okay if you have some disadvantages, I would say.
Were you a fan of the Netflix series? Squid Game?
Yeah. I watched it 4 times. I love the show.
You watched it 4 times before you even applied for this position?
No, I had watched it one time before, and then the other 3 were
research.
Sort of, yeah.
So what was your experience like on the show?
Ooh, that was, so I didn't know what to expect going into it, because going into any reality TV show, first of all, that's a different experience. And then one about Squid Game, which is something else absolutely. I didn't know what to expect, but it was way harder than I could have imagined, and way harder than they made it seem on the show as well. Like red light, green light appeared 5 minutes. I was in there for 9.5 hours in below freezing weather with just this jersey on and no like gloves or anything. And you'd hold a position for 20, 30 minutes. And if you end up in a squat or like a weird stance, holding that for that long, it was the hardest thing I've ever done. And there were athletes in there, SWAT members in there, Olympians, and every single one of them said that was physically and mentally the hardest thing they've ever participated in.
So how important is the strategy here? Who you team up with, who you trust?
It's pretty important. It is. And I saw a lot of people using different strategies, some of them trying to meet everybody and network and have kind of know what's going on with every person. And that kind of shot some of them in the foot. And then others kind of staying close and getting deeper relationships. And you could see at the end, I don't want to make any spoilers here, but some of the people that made it to the end, having those alliances that were from the beginning really helped them move a long way.
Right. And how long was the whole process? Okay, you talked about initially to be selected as a contestant. That took 6 months and lots of interviews and that type of thing. So when you were actually there, the whole filming and then playing the game, how much time did that take?
So I was there for a week in the dorms for a week. And then there was some hotel time, isolating the hotel for a couple days beforehand as well. But the filming was a week for me, and I would imagine it was probably about 2 weeks for people that made it to the end.
Coming up, how a man who lost on The Price is Right still won a packed 5-day trip to New Westminster. Hi, welcome back to Our Vancouver. I'm Gloria Makarenko. Well, who knew that losing on The Price is Right could pay off so well? After overbidding on a trip to New Westminster on the show, Philip Fitzpatrick from Arizona was invited by Tourism New Westminster to see what the Royal City had to offer. on them. Philip also came into our Vancouver studio, and I spoke with him on our afternoon radio show On the Coast.
Now, Philip, hello there and welcome to Vancouver.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me. This is very exciting.
How did you feel when Tourism New Westminster tracked you down?
Well, I was suspicious. You know, I grew up in the era of an Egyptian prince wants to send you money, you know, if you don't give him your bank account. So I checked them out thoroughly, and then I started talking with people. I'm like, okay, this is for real. You know, it's pretty unprecedented. I'd even emailed the Price is Right folks, and they said they'd never seen this happen before. So start talking with folks, and when the reporters start calling and Geraldo started calling, and you know, we got to figured out what was going to happen exactly. It was just amazing. I mean, I really couldn't believe it.
Right. Well, how did you even get into that predicament in the first place? What happened that day on the show?
Well, I'm sort of an engineering kind of person. I did computer stuff when I was working. And so I had been studying prices on The Price is Right for about a year and a half. On that particular game, that was the lowest price trip ever for at least 2 years. And so I was really, really sure that the middle price that I selected, which was $8,000 and change, was the exact price. I was flabbergasted when it wasn't. And to my, the show was Drew Carey. He was fairly surprised that it was not the price that I had selected.
Okay, so Tourism New Westminster contacts you. You made it here to New Westminster. What happened? What first impressions? Why don't you share those with us? And I'm thinking you probably didn't time it all that great in terms of the weather, especially someone from Arizona. But what was your first impression?
Well, it's obviously colder than Arizona, but I grew up in Ohio, so northern Ohio on Lake Erie. So I'm used to this kind of weather. I grew up with it. I wish I could take some of this rain home with me and send you all some of our sunshine. I was like, but this was a great time to come. So it worked out really well. Plus, we'd done all this work on the marketing and PR. I really didn't want to wait till spring. People had been like, Philip, who? And so we worked it out, and my friend Tim got to come with me. He had vacation time left, so I plied him with beer. They said they have breweries in New West.
Do we ever?
Yeah,
Come on.
Some great stuff. We got some yesterday. The main thing I've learned this week, just go with the flow. Smile and wave.
Where has the flow taken you so far?
Oh, we've had a great time. They had a big reception when I got to the hotel Tuesday night. There must have been like 50 to 75 people there, cameras, microphones. Then they made the ultimate mistake. They gave me a live mic and started asking me questions, which, as you can tell, I'm not particularly shy. And so that was fun. And then yesterday we did, I got to have dinner at the Boathouse Tuesday night. Delicious food. Tuesday we did so much, I'll probably have to leave something out. But we did archery lessons. We did one of the breweries, S&O Brewery. It was great. We got to go on a ride on the police boat, with New West Police on their police boat. It was cold, but it was fun. I grew up in Lake Erie, I said, so I'm used to boats and love boating. We had a special show by the circus school, so they were so adorable. I mean, these kids are so talented. And then we had supper last night at Cockney King's, and so great fish. If you love fish and chips, you can either get fried fish, baked fish. You can if you go there for fish, it's excellent. It's one of the few places I've ever been to where I didn't have to put stuff on my fish. You have to eat it. It was delicious.
You're a great ambassador so far. I think that was a really smart idea of Tourism New Westminster.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. I mean, I was teasing Geraldo. It's like, I just want you all to get your money's worth out of this because I'm going to have a good time regardless of what I do. And, I'm almost to a fault sometimes.
At the end of the program, we like to tip our hats to our talented photojournalists on staff here at CBC Vancouver. They bring us images in artful ways to give depth and character to the stories that we cover. So here's a sample of what they saw. And that's all for Our Vancouver this week. I hope you can join me weekday afternoons on CBC Radio 1 for On the Coast. Bye-bye for now.